Miss Purple, the right mind for any time. I created this podcast to raise the awareness of mental illness. If you have any of these symptoms, notify your physician or call 911. Another suicide hotline is nationwide is 988. Thank you. Welcome back to my podcast, A Right Mind for Any Time. Today I'm going to expound or give a brief on anxiety versus depression. Anxiety is a way of fight or flight. When there's a emergency situation come on, a person get very anxious, and that's a way of coping with anxiety. In the healthcare field or the mental health field, people hear the word nervousness or worry all the time. That's the same thing as anxiety. And if anxiety is not dealt with, anxiety soon go into depression or trauma. There are several types of anxiety. There's phobia anxiety, there's panic anxiety, and obsessive compulsive anxiety. Case history that I was reading back was a 16-year-old girl living in a small town. She complained of headaches when she went to school. Her grades dropped from A's and B's to C's and D's. She had feared now that if she not put up her GPA, she would not be able to get in college. When she does go to school, every day she'll go to the nurse's station and ask for some for a headache or stomach ache. What happened in this small town, this young lady that was living in this town, she was riding her bicycle one day and she got killed in this small town. So every time this young girl, 16 years old, named Jennifer, think about this situation, she's get very panicked and she get very anxious. She got so anxious to the point that she didn't want to leave out the house unless her mother gave her a cellular phone. Her mother gave her the cellular phone, and she left out the house one day and the phone charged down and she could not get a hold to her mother. So she ended up with a panic attack. Later on, she referred to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist put her on Zoloft for mild anxiety and also put on Zantac for GI problem. Later on, she resolved her problem. Her grade got better, but did she still have some mild anxiety? Now I'm going to go into depression. Depression is a symptom like people feel worthless. They feel tired. They feel like they just don't want to do nothing. They regress back. And there are several types of depression. There's phobia depression, fear of something, post-traumatic syndrome depression, postpartum depression, and also seasonal affective depression. Seasonal affective depression is like you living in a city and it continue to rain or have bad weather, so you don't have no sunshine. So this lack of stimulation from the sun, you don't have it anymore, so you become seasonal affective depression. Also, postpartum depression usually happens in people that have babies. Maybe 40 weeks after they have the baby, after the baby is born, they feel depressed, they feel overwhelmed, and they feel tired. Usually, this person had to be put on medication for her hormones and also medication for antidepressant. Another type of depression is PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome. And a good example of post-traumatic syndrome is a lot of the shooting that take place in the school in the United States now. And the people that attend that school, when they hear shooting in other school facility, they get very depressed because they say it can happen again. If it happened the first time there, it can happen again. So they have post-traumatic syndrome. I have a case history of a 59-year-old lady named Deborah. She was feeling hopeless, worthless. She did not want to go out with her husband no more. She felt tired all the time. So she went to the doctor and he did a lab work on her and found everything was normal. She probably had dehydration. So as time went on, she also felt so tired she did not want to fix the family meal. And she started crying a lot when she lost her cat that was much older, and she started crying about a little nothing. So her husband convinced her to go and see a psychiatrist. When she went to see a psychiatrist, it was not hormone, it was depression. So the psychiatrist put her on Lexapro, which is a mild antidepressant medication. And she also was put on a sleeping pill called Restoril because she could not sleep at night. The story with depression can go on and on. Just also, you can look at people were so depressed when COVID was out there and they lost a lot of family members. Also, they still depressed with the stock market dropping. They lost a lot of money in the stock market. The thing is, try to get to your clinician or your physician to talk about your symptom, and maybe perhaps you need to be put on medication, or you may be able to go to a therapist, but your primary physician or psychiatrist can determine that. Thank you very much for listening to my podcast.